Hey everyone, welcome to season 10 of the Education Concierge podcast. I'm your host, but you already know that, Benita G, the Education Concierge. I am so excited. So y'all know I get excited when I have people on here from my alma mater, Hampton University. But this young lady, we go way back to Tater Tots. We go way back. We go way back to Lawrenceville, Brunswick County, and I'm excited. I'm excited to who we already were because we were good kids anyway. And then we're amazing women and amazing small business owners, amazing Black female business owners. She is in consulting and coaching, similar to what I'm doing. Our paths aligned. She was great growing up. Like, you know how you have some people who just mean? This was not her. She was like a great spirit already when we were young people, and she just carried that into her adulthood. Y'all, when I say I'm excited, like my heart is full. Not a lot of people from back home come on my podcast. I posted it on LinkedIn, and she was like, B, I don't even know if I read the rest of her email. I just sent her the thing. It was like, here's the link. Come on, let's go. I want you to bring her into the family. She's already part of my family, but of course now she's part of the TEC family, Marilynn Cabiness. She's going to tell us what she does, who she is, but you know, we're going to bring her in like we always do. Let's bring her in. Hey.
Hello, classmates. How you doing?
Oh my goodness, I love it. So those of you who don't know, we are members of the class of 1994, Brunswick Senior High School, the best class that ever walked the halls.
The best of the best.
I don't know. Debate your mama. Like, we don't even want to debate you about this. And we're excited that you're here. So you know where we're from, back in the South. I tell people I'm not Southern. I think I'm a little bit more country than I am Southern. Mm-hmm. But man, you know, you come over to the house, you're a guest, take your shoes off at the front door, go down the hall, wash your hands in the guest bathroom. You know all of these things. So when you come over, we always going to ask you on the podcast here, when we're fixing your plate, do you want a regular plate or do you need a plate with sections?
I like the section plate.
There it is. And growing up, my mom, I didn't realize why my mom got so many plates. Sometimes we were places, I was looking at her like, why she got so many plates? You greedy. But she didn't like her food touching. So we always had section plates in our personal house. So I always ask people, come in, we're going to fix your plate. And we're going to give you a cold glass of iced tea and it's sweet. Because unsweetened tea is a blast for me. Like, who? Why are you making it? And you know, we used to put that tea on the porch and make it. So.
Come on. Listen, what you know about it?
Some people know about it. A lot of people don't, but you know, most of us do. So thank you so much for coming on season 10, Legacy and Progress. Can you tell us who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so I'm excited to be here. I thank you for the opportunity to connect with you again. I'm so excited about your journey as well. And I'm so thankful that our paths have crossed yet again. So again, my name is Marilynn Cabiness. I'm the owner and CEO of Cabiness Coaching and Consulting Group. We are a professional services firm. We specialize in workforce development and training solutions. And what we do in the education space is prepare those high school and college graduates for the marketplace. We want to make sure that they can enter with confidence, with well-rounded skill sets, and with all those critical thinking and problem-solving skills that they'll need to be a success in the world.
So y'all already know and we don't use buzzwords, we use real words. Critical thinking, because we keep talking about it, and success. And we know that we're releasing students from all types of schools, the private schools, the parochial schools, the charter schools, the public schools, that are not successful because we're not preparing them. So it's not even an argument here. So if you want to argue, once again, go over there. We know the facts. We see it. We are in the workforce. We see them come in, and that's in every department, education, medical, engineering. They just don't have all of the things. And so Marilynn comes in and she's like, what do you need? Which is very much like I come in and be like, well, what's the soft skills? So here's where we always start. When you're doing this and when you're developing your company, what systems or norms or beliefs are you challenging, or do you have to challenge on a daily basis?
I am challenging that the heart does not have a space in the marketplace. I think so many people leave the heart out, and I think that the symptoms show themselves today. It's service less. And I know, with artificial intelligence and with all the technology, emerging technology, things have changed from contactless everything. You have to have that service. That's the differentiator in all that we do. So that's what I'm challenging. I want to revive the heartbeat of business because I believe that it is necessary. And I believe that that is the missing piece in the world today.
So crazy you said it. I was the Tabitha Brown Clover. They did like a Clover seminar, and it was Tabitha Brown.
Mhm.
It was a dude who used to be on Shark Tank that owned the basketball team. I'll remember his name in a minute. And another
Mark
young lady,
Cuban. Mark
Cuban,
Cuban.
Mark Cuban. And another young lady, can't remember her name. And he said he was saying something. They all were saying something very similar to what you're saying. Now, these are
Mhm.
people, Mark Cuban is a multimillionaire mind, but I watched him on Shark Tank, and it's exactly what you said. Like I can see that he's like looking at the heart of the person before he's like, I'm gonna invest. And there have been times where I've seen him say, I'm not interested. And I've seen it because he's like, I don't feel your heart is in it. Like I don't feel that you're really behind this 100%. And I love that you said that. And yes, AI is coming, it's here. We're all gonna deal with it. It's gonna evolve. We're gonna evolve with it. But there is still what you're saying about heart and about humanness that we still want. I still want to talk to a human when I'm calling in somewhere. I don't want to talk to your automated system because my accent makes it send me to somewhere I don't want to go. I just want to talk
Right.
to a human being.
That's right.
So tell me how you got here. Like why, what led you to your consulting group? Or were you always consulting? What were you doing before they said, okay, I understand this and now I need to step out and step into this role?
The biggest thing for me was I started out in banking. Well, my high school job was in retail, grocery store, right? Cashier. So you start dealing with the public. You learn how people interact when they deal with their food. I moved on to banking, moved on to manufacturing, and landed in healthcare. And a consistent thing with all of those, the transferable skill with all of those things were soft skills. But the thing that I continued to see that was missing was hard. It was hard. You can't fake it. You can't learn it in your institution, in your college. They don't teach you that. It's something that's on the inside of you that you either embrace it or you kind of harden your heart and think that it's not needed. I don't need my heart for this. And so the main thing was leadership. I had the opportunity to work with some of the best and some that weren't the best. And I learned from
Mm.
both of them. And I wanted to share with people how leadership truly is a ministry, not from the sense of religion, but it truly is about service. And it's an opportunity to make impact, not just an opportunity to be someone who instructs or tells people something to do.
Oh my God. It makes the impact. And it's a
It's
ministry.
impact.
And I love how you cleared it up because people are like, oh my God, they're talking about Jesus. We are because podcast. But
Right.
ministry goes beyond that.
It
Ministry is,
really is.
is beyond that. I love that. And you talked about something I'll never forget. At Hampton University, one of my first education classes, I'll never forget the professor. She said, I can't make you love children. I can teach you how to teach them. She said, but if you don't love them, you won't last in this.
Can
And
can
I'll
I come on
never forget.
behind that? Let me lead on in. The education space is one of the most pivotal, overlooked, unappreciated, underappreciated, all of those things. But it is evident that the heart of teaching is gone. Not for everybody, but for some. There's a difference between a career or a thing that you want to do to make money versus something that you're called to do, something you have that heart's passion to do. And I believe education included, healthcare for sure included, there are some occupations that require heart. And if you don't bring that, that's a space you don't need to enter. It's like exit to the
Mm,
left, not to be rude, but truly, if your heart isn't in education, if your heart isn't in healthcare, if your heart isn't in a service field, that's not the field for you. There's a space for you, but it's not the service field.
I'm glad that you said it. We have some other opportunities for you, but this is not
And I'm
the
here to help with
opportunity.
that. I'm here to help with that. Yeah.
And it unpack that for me. So I'm a student. I'm coming out, or I know I'm a 12th grader. I think I wanted to go. I'm gonna use myself for example. I thought I wanted to be a nurse, and was
Right?
like when I started taking that class, or I was exposed to a summer program, I realized no, I don't want to do that. How or yeah, I don't want to do that. Now I'm confused. How do I get in contact with you, or how do you coach me? Are you coaching me? We coaching the whole family? What would be and don't give away all of it because people got to come to you to hire you. But give us a couple of steps on how would you be like, Benita, girl, I'm coming to you. I'm like, look, I'm all over the place. I don't know if I'm going or coming.
Well, first, it's a conversation because truly my heart is in what I do. So I don't want to take on clients that I know I cannot help or serve. Again, it's impact for me. So I don't want to collect your money and not see an impact in the work or the service that I'm providing for you. So that's number one, to make sure it's a good fit. Secondly, if you don't truly know what you want to do, we start by what you know you don't want to do. That's a starting
Ooh,
point. From that, even when you're entering high school or you're entering that senior year, I suggest internships or those shadowing opportunities. Don't take those things and those opportunities for granted. Don't do it just because it's the grade. Make the most of it and really try to step out into something that you think you might like to see if you get a feel for it. The third thing, just to say, is that most of your core courses in colleges are very similar. So you have the opportunity to pivot. So start with something that you think you like, and then there's always room to pivot along the way. You don't have to box yourself in, give yourself room to grow.
love that because I did that. I went went to college, nursing major, got in there. I was like, I think I'm going to do early childhood education, and my parents were happy. They were like, we knew you were going to teach. We were just waiting for you to recognize it and realize it. And I see it in my nieces and nephews now. In my head, I'm like, they're gonna pivot, but I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut until they ask, or until they expose, like you said, doing an internship or doing something else. And I'm like, yeah, they're gonna change their major, and it's okay. Okay.
Yes.
What do you remember? What do you want to be remembered for in leadership and consulting?
I want to be remembered for the person who served with that heart. And that may seem small or minimal to some, but again, that's truly what I want to be remembered by. I want to be remembered as a person who put impact over income because it will truly always be that for me. I want to be the one who's known for always encouraging people, motivating people, and trying to give people that to just keep going and don't give up. So, impact, servant leadership, if nothing else, having that heart to serve is what I want to be remembered for.
I love that. Okay. And I was thinking, I was like, yeah, I do remember you working at the bank. I was like, you did work at the bank.
I did.
Because my dad would always say, I saw the girl that went to school with you. I was like, Marilyn. He was like, yes. And I was like, Dad, just Marilyn. He's like, I'm not gonna remember that. And he would purposely be like, I waited on Marilyn because she's just good and she always had a smile
Oh,
and
that's
she
so
would you
sweet.
would take your time. That's what he liked. You didn't rush him. And
Yes.
he loved that about you. I'm gonna tell. I forgot. I didn't even tell him you were coming on the podcast. I'm gonna tell him.
You have to let him know.
Yes. And so when you're moving from corporate America, or any of us, I'm moving from the classroom, and we come into this businesswoman entrepreneurship, finding our space. Like somebody was like the other day, they were like, "There's so many coaches and consultants, like, but they do so many different things." How do you, or how would you even tell others to stand out? And when I say, I don't mean like stand up, I mean like stand out. You found your groove, your thing, and how do you keep that? And then how would you tell others to find theirs?
I believe it starts with identity and knowing who we are. And a big part of that is our heart, the why we do what we do. So you have to be confident in who you are. And again, confidence is a growth process. So your confidence has to grow once you gain your footing into whatever it is that you're doing. Integrity. We're going into the soft skills now, right? Integrity and all of those things, doing that right thing, even though it may be challenged, even though it may not always be respected. You truly have to have integrity, maintain that integrity. But first and foremost, knowing that you have something to offer to the world that nobody else has to offer. And people say it a lot, but do they really understand what they're hearing? That means you don't have to look like anybody else. You don't have to sound like anybody else. You can do the same thing. There are a million different podcasts out there, but nobody can do the education concierge like Bonita G can do the education concierge, because you bring your uniqueness, your beauty, your gifts and talents to this space. Who else can do you better than you? So the more we know that, the less we try to compete, even though there is a space for competition, right? You know, there are going to be some, you may have to compete for a job, but at the same
Mhm.
time, knowing and being confident that is, if this is for me, it's for me. I'm going to continue to do the right thing, whether people see it or don't see it, or whether people like it or don't like it. And you have to stand firm in that.
I love that. So, do you work with? So, say I own a company, a CNA, because that's what I've been interviewing people for CNA jobs all week, and say I own a CNA job, and that's great. And I say, Marilyn, I have these great employees, but I keep getting this feedback about their soft skills.
Mhm.
Am I able to come to you and you'll say, Benita, let's talk about it, and you set a package up? Do you work like that, or is it strictly individual?
So it's tailored. It's customized to whatever the needs are. I have a conversation and find out exactly what we make it fit based on the client's needs. So we do one-on-one, we do groups. Again, whatever for each individual client.
I love that. Okay, because now I know. So be ready.
Yes,
Be ready for me to reach out to you to help with our soft skills when we have students in the medical profession and are going in. And our high schoolers, that's one of the biggest things that we have high schoolers that are going into the medical field, like you spoke about earlier, where we just sending a simple email. Like somebody sent me an email this morning about 8:30, and I have a relationship with them. They're one of my seniors. And I sent her the email back and said it needs to have capitalization. It needs to have some punctuation. We are not,
mhm.
we're not friends like that. And you're texting me about a job. Like you're emailing me about a job for later on. So can you correct it? And then you have the whole day to send it back to me while I'm researching what you're asking me, but I'm gonna need a correct email. And she laughed. She sent back LOL. But then about after lunchtime, she sent me
Yes.
the updated email because I was like, "Who you talking to, girl? We
Profe-
friends."
yeah, that professionalism is something that people don't think about. Communication skills, again, because of the generation and what they've grown up in, is just different. But again, especially with the healthcare field also. So patient experience is also something near and dear to my heart. I spent years working on patient experience, learning what those patients want and need, but also being able to interact with a team, and being able to take constructive criticism without popping your neck or wanting to walk off the job, or having a whole meltdown. It's real, but we teach you how to get over and get through all of those things. Again, with confidence and with those real well-rounded skills.
So speaking about that, name one challenge you faced and how you pushed through it with creativity, care, and courage.
Oh my goodness. Stepping into the world of entrepreneurship. I thought that when I paid that fee to get my LLC, I knew that I had been doing what I do for years. I knew that it worked. I knew I had the heart to do the job, but I did not know how much work. And I'm not afraid of work, right? So it's not from the tasking of work, but how much it truly meant to start back at the bottom. Because at every level you move to, just like the flights of stairs, you're going to level back out and you're going to be starting back at the bottom. I didn't understand how much went into being a business owner, and me with my perfectionism that I've been trying to kind of and kind of shift over into excellence. But I truly didn't know how much work it would be. How I overcame that is how I've overcome everything in life, with tenacity, a lot of
Mm.
prayer, um, but also believing in myself and knowing that the gift that I had, somebody was waiting on it. That alone pushed me to keep going, because I knew I would be doing the world a disservice if I didn't.
The gift that you have, somebody is waiting on. Shoot,
If it's only
that's the word I needed.
Mhm.
Oh my God. And then I love that analogy about the stairs. I've never heard that before. But as soon as you said it, it clicked. I was like, yes, it levels out. I take a breath. And I'm like, I'm climbing
And
up.
you're doing it again. Yeah, yeah. And when you get to a certain level, it's not that you're comfortable there, but you have expertise. So I'm like, I have all these years. I have 29 plus years of expertise doing but when you step into entrepreneurship, that goes back to zero. You have the expertise, but people want to know, how much have you done it in your field as an entrepreneur? How many clients have you had? So then you're
Yeah.
back like a resume with no work experience. So it was challenging, but it has been worth it. It's been worth it.
You have been coaching and consulting all of your life. Like I remember conversations we had in junior high and high school.
I believe that.
And
You don't realize it, but
you have been, I'm sitting here thinking about some stuff and I was like, yeah, she's been coaching us you've been coaching a long time. I don't remember all the
amen.
stuff from elementary, but definitely conversations we had in junior high, high school. And yes, even till junior high. Don't try and correct
That's
me to
right.
middle school. Uh,
That's
yeah,
right.
you've been coaching for a minute. So if they ask,
Mhm.
you can go all the way back to James
All the way
Solomon
back. I'm gonna say contact Benita G. She was my client
Right.
in middle school. Okay.
Come on. I'll be like, look, it's one time. Cause I was like, I remember. And you have always been like, let's process this. Let's think about this. I'm just sitting here thinking about it. I was like, so yeah, you've always possessed that.
Amen.
And thank you. Cause I was like, I know I was wild and crazy. The Benita y'all see now has always been wild and crazy.
Going as yeah, as you are now, though it really is. It's but to see the beauty in it in maturity. Because God was still shaping and molding us at that time, but nothing has changed. And that is the authenticity that we're talking about, not being conformed to the world, not letting what everything else looks like, or you have to look a certain way or talk a certain way to reach a certain level in life. No, be yourself, authentically you, unapologetically, like you know, it sounds cliche, but it's so true. It is
It's
so
so true.
true.
And somebody asked me, they were like, were you raised like that? And I have to say to them, I think so. I think we were in a community. I think we were in the presence of other adults who allowed us just to become.
Yes.
I said, I don't
Yes.
remember anyone telling me to change who I was. I don't remember any teacher like degrading me because I was bubbly or I was loud or I was all over the place. They put boundaries, of course, because they're trying to
Right.
teach. But I don't remember ever being in a space growing up where it was like, you need to be something different. And I'm glad that you said that because I do remember us being in a healthy, hey, who do you want to be? What do you
That's
want to
right.
do? Let's support you. Which is why you and I both are in position now where we are doing that with other people and the
That's
youth.
right.
They did that.
That's
Um,
right. They're different.
they are, and I feel like they need so much more than we need. But I don't know because I don't
They do.
remember.
It's the
They
truth. They
do.
do. They really do. They really, really do. But we're here for them. That's the good thing. They're not without help.
100%. So now this is the part we get into where we talk about legacy lens. And we talk about it goes right into where we talk about how you making space for the next generation. We know you're teaching the soft skills, but like when you're thinking about like how do I get to them, what is the one thing that you're like, if I don't teach, if they walk away from your counseling session with nothing else, this is the thing I needed to walk away with.
I'm going back to authenticity because again, I think definitely in today's culture, there is such a desire to fit a certain mold. And we're breaking molds in this season. We're going back to no, you don't need to follow this. No, you don't need to dress this way or wear this or do that. You don't need to agree with everything if you don't agree with it. It is okay. So again, if nothing else, the two things I want everybody to know, number one is have that heart in what you do because it is necessary. That's the secret sauce. People talk about a secret sauce. That authenticity and that heart is the secret sauce. And dare again, dare to be different. There is a lane specifically for each of you. And that lane is again only for you. can only be walked, run, and traveled by you. And the more you embrace that, the more powerful you become and the more speed you can pick up. Like, we're not trying to skip over any steps, but when you're in that lane that's already been made for you, you're going to have less obstacles, less detours, and less challenges because you're in the space that's designed specifically for you.
Oh my God. I promise you, y'all, she didn't come on here for y'all. She came on here to speak life into me. Because I said back, I was like, if I'm in my lane, I can go faster and I have less obstacles. I promise y'all, I
Yes.
have been praying like, Lord, am I in the right lane? And that right there gave me a lot of clarity about some things I'm trying to do. And I was like, why is this so difficult? Because I'm not in the right lane.
But I want to say with that, but now think about it. When you're on some of our country roads, you might be on a road that only has one. Okay.
Yeah.
That's depending on whether you're coming or going, the direction, right? Then when you get on a bigger highway, right? You might get on, well, remember 58. We ain't going into 85 and
Yes.
all the other highways, right, as we travel. But then you have two lanes. You might have some eastbound, northbound, southbound as you grow. And if you get into bigger states, you're going to have a road that has about 8 lanes of traffic all going the same
Yes.
way. So it
Yes.
truly is all depending on which state or which space you're in that season of life. So your lane can shift. Your lane can definitely shift, and that's okay. But you'll know when to get off the exit, when you might need to take a U-turn and get back on, but the lanes might change. That lane is still going to be your lane, even though it changes, if that makes sense.
It makes 100. It makes sense to me. I don't look. If y'all don't understand, DM me. I'll
Right,
explain to you.
right.
DM me. I'm gonna give Marilyn's information be in the show notes. You reach out to Marilyn, and she
Yeah,
will help bring you back around because that's what she does, coaching and consulting. So if you're
that's
confused,
right.
you're gonna go back to Marilyn. Okay, Marilyn, we get to this part. It's called the truth table.
Okay.
I used to call it a controversial corner. And it's something we just pull. Y'all know they don't know about it. I just kind of pull it out of thin air while we're having a discussion, just thinking about what's happening in the world. You can always say, Benita, I don't want to answer that. And we will
Okay.
keep it moving. That is
Okay.
an honest question, honest answer. But my question to you is, we talked about it a little bit earlier. Everybody's like, AI, I don't want to do it. It's crazy. We don't need the kids to learn, blah, blah, blah. How do you see, and I don't call it artificial intelligence, I call it assistive intelligence because it's assisting me.
Yeah.
I make it assistant. How do you see that as a negative or a positive moving into consulting and coaching the high schoolers going to college, even the college graduates who are matriculating into full time? Do you see it as a negative? Do you see it positive? Or you see it as both?
I see it as both. I believe there are pros and cons, and I was truly one that thought if I resisted AI enough, that it would go away because I was not a fan initially. I was not. I'm a people person. No, I don't want to talk to the computer. I don't want to order my food on a screen every time. I don't even want to go to the ATM. But anyway, pros and cons. So you don't want for our students, right? You don't want them to take away from their creative genius. That's what I call it. You don't want to utilize the tools of AI so much that you don't allow yourself to think or be able to create because that is what your brain is for. It is truly your own computer system. It thinks. So you don't want it to take away from creative genius, but it can definitely be a benefit. It can be our assistant, as it is mine right now, when I don't want to hire a full time admin. So it can benefit you also. Instead of going through hundreds of encyclopedias, which I know nobody does that, but Benita, you and I had to do that, right? You can use that to save yourself some time. But at the same time, just like everything else, it requires balance. So I see pros in
Mm.
it. I see where it could be cons because some people may rely on it so much that they forget that they have to use their own brain and that creative genius in order for it to continue to flow.
Right. And I love that. Thank you. And then one of the things I love is that the more I pour my creativity into it, the better it will assist me to clean
That's
it
what
up.
people don't understand. It only gives back what you put in. So if
Right.
you're surface level, you're going to get a surface level response. But the more in depth, which means you have to have some type of knowledge of what you're asking specifically for it to be able to assist you, which is the benefit in it. Also, really quick in the business space with artificial intelligence, because we need those spaces and places for people and the heart, people are afraid of losing jobs. And I understand some jobs will be replaced, but
Mhm.
think of it as a way to upskill, make sure that you have your skills ready so you can get into some spaces and use your talents somewhere besides like an assembly line or a place where you can better use your skills and let the AI do the day-to-day same old mundane work. That opens the doors for you to do something more creative and something that really brings a human touch with art, which artificial intelligence will never have. It can imitate, but it's
Yeah.
artificial for a reason. It's called
Right.
artificial for a reason.
I'm gonna just put it out there, you guys. I don't care how old you are or how young you are, a teacher, a nurse, a doctor, somebody
Mhm,
dealing with my money. I want a human. And
mhm.
I want to, especially being a businesswoman, a business owner, if I need a loan, I need to have a relationship with the banker. I need to have a relationship with the mortgage
Right,
lender. You need to know, we need to know each other on a personal level. And AI is a computer that we feed stuff into and we set it, we command it, we program it. I want that heart like Marilyn is speaking about.
that's
That's what I
right,
want.
that's right.
And I look at you said upscale. All of it needs to happen. And we keep saying that to you guys. And I don't know if y'all are listening. I'm looking at my Wi-Fi.
Mhm.
Everybody in the building there. There it is. Okay. Okay. All right, I
Yes.
love that. Everybody's talking about that, but I need you to make sure that you go into Maryland. You're going to get the consulting. You're going to get the coaching to understand. Like, hey, I've been in this career 22 years. AI is coming in. How do? What my dad told me, he said, make yourself relevant, so they don't have to fire
Mhm.
you. How
That's
do you
right.
make it relevant? I love that. Okay, here's well, we call it the fun part. I don't know. Some people don't like it. We call it rapid fire reframe. So really, if it's remember that song we used to sing coming up, you can get with this or you can get with that.
Yes.
Yes, that's what this is. So I'm going to give you a couple of questions. It's a or this or that. Now, because it's called the Education Concierge Podcast, and we know the educators can never give just a straight answer about stuff. If you want to answer both, if you want to explain your answer, all of that is legit here on my podcast. And you might go to somebody
Okay.
else and be like, no, you can do this. But if you feel the need to, and then some of them are fill in the not fill yeah blank, and some of them are just questions like, what do you think?
Okay.
All right, take a deep breath and we'll get started. Curriculum or culture?
I am with curriculum because I believe that the culture will impact the curriculum, but I definitely believe that curriculum is necessary. Curriculum is hard, culture flows, ebbs and flows. So I believe curriculum because culture will impact curriculum always.
Oh, I love that. Okay. One thing you would delete from a traditional school day.
I think the one thing I would delete from the school day is I don't want to say structure because that doesn't sound good because we need structure, but maybe have a couple of flex days where, and I know they alternate a little bit now where you don't have the same classes the whole school year. But what I mean is one day have a free day. Let me go to a class that I may not be taking, but I might like a teacher. So let me just be able to go and sit in a class, just something to mix it up where it's not Monday through Friday, same blocks, same schedule because that takes away from kind of creativity and all the things too.
I love that. And you can say structure because we do believe in like micro schools and homeschool, whereas we have like you said, like a free flow. There are certain
Yes.
things that must be done by the end of the week.
Yes, that type of yes. That I think is would be amazing.
I love that. Okay. What do you think is the most overused education buzzword?
I had to look at this because I'm like, okay, give me an example, Benita, of some that have been overused. And let
So
me pick and I'll
we
tell you.
right. So we don't like the word like data driven, or we hear somebody say classroom management, like you can't really manage the
Mm,
class.
mm.
Um, if we hear someone say pivot, which we're like, I'm so tired of that.
Oh, I use that word. Oh, I use pivot today. I'm sorry.
No, 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 no. And I think it's because during COVID because I was guilty of it. During COVID, I was like, let's pivot. We got to get pivot. No, a lot of times people don't like the buzzword where we talk about structure. And they were like, "Well, what do you mean structured?" And we definitely do
Mm.
not like for you to say, what is the one the guy said the other day? Oh, rigor. We like, don't say that.
Mm. Let me take data driven, right? Because working in healthcare, I heard data a lot when it came to patient experience. And I get it. The numbers, as we know
Mhm.
with our bank account, paints a very clear picture. But you have to, I think a lot of times when you're only looking at the numbers and focusing on the numbers, you're overlooking the thing that really drives the number. If that makes sense. Sometimes you can
Yeah.
get so into the data that all you're seeing is the data and you're paying less attention to the things that are driving the data, the
Ooh.
variables, right? So I think the data driven thing for me, for sure.
And you explained it exactly how we feel. That is exactly
Yes,
why we don't like it. That is
yes,
exactly why we you're looking at the variables like in education, you were in the community, you are
yes,
part of it. It could be a shooting that happened. It could be my grandmother is on hospice. I
yes,
have to take this
yes,
big test today. I don't do great on this test today because all of the things, the variables that
yes.
happen in my life, I'm like you, like we want a holistic view. And so we don't like that's one of the buzzwords we don't like. Thank you.
Yes.
The next one is start with strategy or should we start with heart?
I think it's okay to start. No, I'm gonna this may seem kind of contradictory of everything I've said about heart, right? But I think it's okay to start with strategy because strategy is again it's going to tell you where you're going or what you're trying to do. The heart is a factor in that strategy. You can't have a what I feel is a successful strategy without heart being a part of it. So strategy first, but you cannot leave heart out of that strategy. Has to be included.
What is the most meaningful mistake you've ever made?
The most meaningful, oh my goodness. No, this is not in business, right? This is just overall like in my life, right? The most meaningful mistake I made was underestimating. Okay, so I'm not going to get into details, but I made a comment because we all like to think that we're not judgmental of other people, right? And we all like to think that we don't look down on certain people. Well, I made a comment. Um, I had made comments in the past that I didn't think were either. But someone told me one day, and they were talking about someone who had been incarcerated. Now, I've known family members, friends, all kinds of people who have been incarcerated. So I would say that the most meaningful mistake I've made was thinking that things couldn't happen to me or that I could not make a bad decision as other people did. Does that make sense? Because sometimes we
Yeah.
look at our bad decisions like they're little mistakes. But how could they do this? Well, guess what? The same mind that you made your little mistake with is the same mind that they may have made a bigger one in. And a lot of mistakes that you made that you didn't get caught in, they did.
Mm.
So the most meaningful was just undermining that we can all make bad decisions, but it's just knowing that you can always come back from it. It doesn't end with that bad decision.
And yes, we all have judged. We all are judging.
Yes.
So and then I'm the same way as you. Like I'm like, and then I have to catch myself and like, girl, what you do? Like, go sit down. You judge it. I'm like,
You
ooh,
you have to. I'm telling you, you have to. And when we start admitting things about ourselves, that's when
yes,
we remain open to change. And again, we can embrace other people more because we're all just out here trying to do the best we can do.
100%, 100%. Okay, what would your 15-year-old Marilyn say to you now about what you do?
That is why you were watching all of those leaders all the time like that. The very first job I told you I had in that grocery store, I'm telling you, I did not understand it. But from the very first time I walked in that grocery store, I was watching my manager. I watched everything she did. I watched how she interacted with people. I watched how she talked to people. And then I listened to what the people had to say about what she said. And then I would always be thinking, if I was her, I would do X, Y, and Z. And then I would go talk to her and say, have you ever tried to do such and such? And then I would watch her do what I said. And then again, I got
Mm,
to test. But that is how I'm able to talk to leaders because I've been doing it. Like you say, I've been doing it forever. I just didn't know why I was doing it. But it all makes sense now.
I love that. I'm gonna sit. So I just realized that I've never sat and like answered these questions myself. I need to sit down and answer because I don't know what fits in you, Benita. What say now?
You
I need
don't
to
know.
think about it.
Yes,
I
I'm
don't.
telling you.
Yeah, I don't know what she would say to myself, just in life in general. She'd probably be like, "What them kids
Yeah.
what them kids ever so sad?" But yeah, I got to think about that. I love that. Um,
You have a ton of kids. How many classrooms have you taught in, ma'am?
Girl, we not even going.
Sometimes
We not going.
what happened to all of those kids? You will be surprised that what we think, listen, I'm gonna leave it right. I'm telling you, very true. But it is very much true. It may not have been as you've gotten older, it may not be in the context that you thought,
Yes.
but the amount of pouring in and mothering that you have done for those will supersede anything. There wouldn't have been enough to add up to all of that impact that you had on so many. So you can't overlook that. No, ma'am. You can't overlook that. And it's not the same. You know, I know you say, oh, well, it's not the same, but it wasn't supposed to be the same.
I am gonna stop right there. So I'm like, I am literally tearing up right now. So I'm just gonna go to the next. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. And you can take a minute and sit in. Look, I don't have nothing to do after this, but that is so true. Don't overlook that as what we think mothering is, because again, it's not the same definition. And I know I can't speak on it from the sense of what you may feel, but what I'm telling you is the impact that you've made in those are your children. You have
Yes.
sown into them, you have labored, you have cried with them, you have grown with them. They're still your babies, even though you haven't taught them probably in 20 years. That heart and that mothering is beyond the womb. It definitely is. I'm telling you.
Thank you. So let me.
Yeah.
So y'all see what just happened. When I say Marilyn has been doing this all of her life,
I'm gonna throw my finger up because you're gonna have to look, you're gonna have to cut. That was for you. I don't know if that was for the whole podcast. That one's for you.
you literally have been doing this like your entire life. That's the part. And I'm like, yeah. When I saw you start this on LinkedIn, I was like, yeah. I don't know what the
Yes.
problem. Like, I don't know why she waited so long. What was the
Nothing but the
problem?
heart.
Here we
Yeah.
go. Okay.
Let me throw the other finger up and do it. Okay.
Here we go. One myth about education that needs to go.
Don't get upset with me, Benita.
I'm not.
One myth about education that needs to go is that you know how when you apply for your job and they tell you that certain education is required? I go back to experience also. I believe that they are both great, but I think a lot of times we get in the mindset of educating, and there's so many letters behind your name that you can barely type it on a Word document because you might have to wrap that text and go back around the other time. So I think sometimes we look into ways to promote ourselves or put ourselves out here almost like we're on a shelf, and we're trying to find ways to justify that we're great. And we're trying to find ways to show that we can do the job that someone is asking us to do. When if you do what you do with that heart and you serve well, you don't need 25 years of education and 15 degrees to serve in the capacity that you are meant to serve in. Now, again, I'm all for educating. You have to make sure you stay informed in different things and things that change, but don't let education, that's not your identity.
Right. I love that. And I love that you said that because when I was looking for a job, transitioned out of teaching, I'll never forget this young lady said, she said, I said to her, she was helping me. She said, I said, I don't qualify. She's like, you do. She's like, you do. She's like, you have the experience, you have your transferable skills. And she said to me, she said, if you were a man, you would apply without thinking. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, really? She like sent me some stats. And I said, and now if it's a job I see and it aligns with what I believe in and it aligns with what I want to do or aspire to do, I will apply. And yes, and I'm like, they'll be like, oh, you need to have your PhD in education. I don't, but I'm gonna apply anyway because I have these years of experience. And I love that you said that. And especially as a coach and a consultant, that you are aware of that power
Yeah.
and that you're feeding that and you're teaching that to your clients. So thank you.
Yes.
That is important. All right, we got a couple of more. Should we continue to look at test scores or testimonials?
Testimonials, because we're going on back over to the data. The test score will tell you how many questions I missed and what I got right and wrong, but that testimonial will tell you why. And if you don't know the why behind everything, you don't know anything. You have the why is so important. The why is the most important, actually the most important, I think.
Textbooks or TikTok tutorials?
I'm going to say textbooks because TikTok tutorials, I can appreciate those because again, it's like the math problem that doesn't matter how you get the answer if the answer is right. But TikTok also tends to add in a little opinion sometimes where that textbook is fact. So I think sometimes we have so many opinions on a thing, which may sound like truth, but they're not always the truth. It is just how I feel about it and what I think about it. And what you think about something can be an opinion, but that does not make it fact.
I have never heard that before. And that
Yeah.
is important. Oh, y'all, I gotta think about my because that answer, I was like, no, TikTok tutorials. Now you got me thinking. Here's the last question for rapid fire
Okay.
reframe, and it is the future of education is.
Oh, let's see. The future of education. The future of education is still being written. And I say that because we determine what the future of education is. And what I see it in my generation today, someone else is going to see it different tomorrow. So it doesn't mean, again, that it's a right or wrong, but it is still being written. And I think it's always going to be a dot, dot, dot. I'm good with the dot, dot, dot. I don't have the straight answer. It's still being written.
I love that. Look, ladies and gentlemen, y'all know after we do that, we get ready to close. So this is how we close, Mayor. I am raised, you know, that Lawrenceville, Virginia, shout out. I attended Little Shallow Baptist Church on Otterdam Road in Jarrett, Virginia. Well, the pastor who baptized me is Reverend Jacob Turner Jr., who has passed away from Waverly, Virginia. Don't nobody say nothing bad about my
Okay.
Reverend Turner. I love him. That was my boy who really brought me to the Lord. Like he preached a sermon, the next thing I knew, I got up and was walking to the front. Y'all don't know nothing about that. You not saved. I was like, well,
Say it again.
I said, y'all don't know nothing about coming to the front. Y'all ain't saved. Okay, say what I said.
Mhm. She said what she
Um,
said.
right. And so, you know, we always had that guest pastor like revival, and the doors of the church are open. And Marilyn, you are our guest pastor. And we always wanted the guest pastor to give us something to encourage us from Sunday to Sunday. So that
Mhm.
is your job as we close out this recording, this episode of season 10, Legacy in Progress. We want you to close out, encourage us. It can be a poem, it can be a rap, it can be a quote, it can be a scripture. It can be anything that you know and that you do. It could be your affirmations that you're sharing with us to get us from this episode to the next episode and moving forward to encourage us in our spaces and places.
All right. Well, I'll start by saying I just said this on something I was doing the other day. So we thank Benita first for not just looking back, right, but reaching back. So I encourage everyone to reach back into your communities, reach back into the areas that you have come through, and just have a heart's desire to make impact and change. I want to encourage every high school student, every college student, even those beyond adults, educators, and all of those that are on this space. Remember that you make a difference. You truly do. You make a difference in who you are, not so much as what you do every day, but in who you are and what you offer to the world by showing up every day, imperfect, but coming forth to give your best, to do your best, and to share your gifts with all of us. So, again, I encourage everyone to be authentic and true. Know that you matter. Know that, again, the world is waiting on what you have to offer. Don't look for perfection. Go forth in excellence, which means whatever you do, you're going to do it to the best of your ability. Don't let a fall stop or hinder you. get back up again. As long as you have breath in your body, you still have time. You still have a call and a purpose to make a difference, not in the world, if you're looking at it from a big context, but in your family, with your family, amongst your friends. So that's what I would share. And I'm going to end with that quote that says, nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. Put that heart and put that service in what you do, and that's going to be your differentiator in the world.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I forgot to tell y'all to make sure you had something to sip on. Make sure you had your pen, and to make sure you had something to write down. So when you go back and listen to this, make sure you subscribe, support, and share, but make sure you take these notes. You will reach out to Marilynn Cabiness because you're going to hire her to speak to your youth group, to speak to your graduating seniors, to come into your consult and coach. So all of her information is going to be in the show notes. You're going to slide into her DMs professionally. On LinkedIn professionally. I know how we feel about that. You know, I'm always going to be like, nope, professionally on LinkedIn, where she is active and engaged all the time. Thank you so much. I thank you guys for showing up and showing out, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.